Hello and welcome to Newsblitz. I am Atinuke Nuke. Before we continue, remember the coronavirus is a deadly disease. Wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds regularly or use a hand sanitizer. Also wear a face mask when outside and maintain physical distancing. Now to the rest of the news. The Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Monday said 130 Nigerians have been received by the country's embassy in Romania. In a statement, the ministry explained that it has also provided accommodation for them while arrangements are being made to take them back home. It said another batch of about 200 Nigerians is expected in Budapest later in the day. He also said 52 persons have been received in Warsaw, Poland. Of the number, 23 are being processed at the Polish government reception point at Ala Kijowska. The federal government's recent move was sequel to the Russian invasion of Ukraine about 5 days ago on Sunday. The ministry said the Hungarian and Romanian government have approved visa-free access to Nigerians coming from the Eastern Europe nation. In a related development, as Russian troops advances into Ukraine's capital from several directions after Russia's leader Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion, there are growing concerns about Nigerians living in Ukraine and other impacts the tussle between the two countries may have on Nigeria. Our correspondent spoke with some Nigerians about this.
The world has been agog about the invasion of Ukraine by Russian armed forces. There are several schools of thought. While some, like the United States of America, NATO member nations, believe it's an unprovoked war by Vladimir Putin, some see it as a test of President Joe Biden's foreign policy. Back home in Nigeria, how much do Nigerians know about the Russian-Ukraine crisis and the implications on global politics?
In the 21st century, many things can be settled without killing lives, destroying properties, and all of these things. There could be dialogue, negotiations, and all of it. But irrespective of whatever the cost should be, I think at this point, these kind of issues and wars and invasions aren't necessary.
Nigerians might say it's not their business, but we have over 4,000 Nigerians in the UK. Now, supposing something happens to them, what would we say?
I don't know how Putin is going to try his best to avoid or stop this war. It will be better for all nations because even our Nigerians are schooling there and it's affecting their education.
There are at least over 4,000 Nigerians in Ukraine. The federal government is making efforts to evacuate its citizens. What impact does the war have on Nigerians living in Ukraine?
Just like every other nations of the world who have bilateral relationships, or any kind of relationship with the Ukraine or Russia, will be worried. Nigeria, as a government, as a sovereign on our own, should be worried too, especially when we have direct relationship with Ukraine. What do we do with the Ukraine directly? We have agricultural exchange, we have oil exchange, we have fruit exchange. We have so many foreign direct exchange that accumulates to part of our total GDP. So what we do with Ukraine year on year is between about $125,000 to $130,000. So that's a huge one for us. Also, we have student exchange with Kyiv, especially in Ukraine. So what is happening right now in Western Europe is a call for concern for every region, the world, every sovereign in the world, every countries of the world.
Russia supplies Europe with a significant amount of gas, military capacity that boasts fighting men in their hundreds of thousands and nuclear warheads. With the American government currently deploying troops to nearby Poland and the NATO member countries ready to trigger Article 4 of its charter, the world can only hope that Europe does not integrate into a full-scale war as seen in World War II.
Meanwhile, the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress is leading a protest to the National Assembly to demand overwhelming votes from the federal lawmakers ahead of the clause-by-clause voting on the ongoing constitution alteration process. The Labour leader are demanding that the lawmakers vote in favor of autonomy for the local government and the judiciary. President of the NLC, Ayuba Waba, who is leading the protest, said governance at the grassroots level has been mortgaged by a few individuals with vested interest. While commending the federal government for assenting to the electoral amendment bill last week Friday, Waba said autonomy of the local government and the judiciary should also enjoy such legislative support. In the meantime, the Academic Staff Union of Universities maintains that it will not back down on the current industrial action, accusing the federal government of not keeping to its promises. President of the union, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, said this on Monday, more than 2 weeks after ASU declared a one-month warning strike over the federal government's inability to honor its agreement with the body. It said members of the union have sacrificed for this country's educational system, noting that many schools have not missed any academic year in spite of the strike actions by ASU. Professor Osodeke explained that many lecturers have not gone on leave for years as they try to meet up with the calendar. He also debunked claims that varsity teachers are paid for doing nothing. In the same vein, the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, held a protest against the lingering strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The students, led by the national president, Sunday Asefon, gathered on Monday morning at Unity Fountain in Abuja, displaying various placards and chanting songs of solidarity. The protest was also held in other states, including Kofa, Nasarawa, Kano State, Jos, Plateau State, Minna, Niger State, Jalingo, Taraba State, among others. Asefon said the student union has given the federal government up till the 28th of February to meet and resolve the issue with ASU or face a national mass action by Nigerian students. Moving on, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria and the Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers are at loggerhead over the pump price of petrol. NUPEG issued a 24-hour ultimatum to IPMAN members on Sunday to revert to the official pump price of 165 naira per litre of petrol. But IPMAN says such directive is not within the former purview of the chairman. The chairman, Ipman Benin Depot, Mr. Douglas Iyike, stated this on Monday in Lagos that NUPENG's ultimatum was misplaced. According to him, the increment is due to the hike in the ex-depot price of petrol, which should be at the area where NUPENG should direct its threat, rather than directing same at marketers. A federal high court in Abuja on Monday refused to grant bail to suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari. Justice Inyang Ekwo, in a ruling, said the application had been overtaken by events following an order of a sister court granting the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency's prayer to detain Kyari for another 14 days to enable it conclude its investigation on the 25 kilogram of cocaine. Justice Ekwo held that the sister court, which gave the order in favor of NDLEA on February 22, was a court of coordinate jurisdiction. The judge, however, said it was inclined to hear Kyari's fundamental enforcement rights suit with the urgency it deserves after the expiration of the 14-day court order. It then adjourned until March 15 to hear Kyari's application to demand for its fundamental rights enforcement. Reaction has continued to trail President Muhammadu Buhari's assent to the Electoral Amendment Bill into law. The chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Electoral Matters, Representative Aishatu Diko, has described the signing of the electoral bill into law as a step in the right direction that will guide the conduct of elections in Nigeria. She noted that the act has provided a level playing field for all politicians, particularly women, vying for different positions in the country, as well as fight corruption. Diko also identified of primaries, campaign expenses, use of technology, devices in elections, electronic transmission of results, review results declared by an electoral officer under duress are some of the reforms introduced that will ensure the credibility of elections in Nigeria.
The signing of this bill, technology has been, backed strongly by law now, which is putting Nigeria, among the Committee of Nations, becoming, the giant of Africa. Now is going to lead in technology in our elections. Then coming to talk about INEC, getting the right funding at the right time. It's also backed now by law. INEC would have all their funds for election 1 year before the general elections. And also, we've been fighting corruption. But in the bill, in the law now, the specific amount for a presidential contestant, for a governorship contestant, for members of the National Assembly, for chairman, state assembly, chairman, and councillors. So all is in a bid to, entrench our democracy. It is going to start immediately because for primary elections now, it's going to be 6 months to election.
Staying with politics ahead of the 2023 general elections, a civil society organization is advocating for more women to participate in politics. The group's convener, Etuk Patricia, speaking to the media in Abuja, called on Nigerians to support women for the president in 2023. She argued that the issues of women marginalization and low participation in governance have made it imperative to give women a chance, adding that some Nigerian Women Coalition for Good Governance are advocating for a female president and a shift from the male-dominated history of governance.
We believe that the women of Nigeria deserve a shot at the governance of the country at the highest level. Hence, this press conference to further drive home this point that by all intent and purposes is in the greater interest of the country. The generality of Nigerians must admit that the time is indeed now for the great women of the country to take a shot at governance at the highest level. The time is indeed now for women to take up the mantle of leadership.
The candidate of the People's Democratic Party for Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency, Musa Aga, has been declared the winner of Saturday's by-election by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Correspondent Mfon Obang reports.
Declaring the result on Sunday, INEC's returning officer said Musa Aga of the PDP polled a total of 40,343 votes to defeat his closest challenger, Muhammad Adam Al-Khali of the People's Redemption Party, PRP, who garnered a total of 37,757 votes, while Abi Aku of the All Progressives Congress polled 26,111.
That Musa Aga Avia of the PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
With the bimodal voter accreditation system recording an appreciable level of success in the by-election, INEC is even more confident of conducting a free, fair and credible elections in the country.
Our beavers have really done much better than other elections that were held recently. You can see how God works.
At all times, the Commission is committed to conducting a credible and transparent process wherever it is.
Reacting to the outcome of the election, The PDP in Plateau State, as well as the people of the state, while commending INEC for the conduct of the exercise, which was rancor-free, called on the member-elect to provide quality representation for the constituency.
This victory, the People's Democratic Party candidate, Right Honorable Musa Aga Avia, has received the people's mandate to proceed to Abuja to provide quality representation that PDP is known for, and which the people of Jos North Bassa and the entire people of Plateau State have been yearning for.
The voting process has been improved by INEC.
The winner of the poll, while addressing members of the party and journalists, promised to provide quality legislation that will improve the welfare of his constituency.
I assure the good constituents of Jos North Bassa that if inaugurated, like I've always done, I will demonstrate that robust and people-oriented representation.
11 political parties contested the February 26 by-election to fill the position left by Haruna Maitala of the APC, who died in a motor accident in April 2021. From Jos, the Plateau State capital, Mfon Obong, Silverbird News 24.
You're watching Newsblitz, reaching you live from Abuja. We will be back with more reports after this break. Stay with us. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared Mayokun Alade of the All Progressive Congress as the winner of the Akure North and South Federal Constituency by-election. According to the results declared by INEC, Mayokun Alade polled 26,379 votes, while his closest rival, Olumuyiwa Adu of the People's Democratic Party, polled 24,201 votes. The election, held in two local governments of Akure North, Akure South, was conducted under a peaceful atmosphere by the by-election, and it became necessary following the death of the lawmaker representing the federal constituency, Adedayo Omolafe, last year, August.
Mayokun Olarewaju May of APC scored a total vote of 26,370. Olumuyiwa Sylvester Adu of PDP scored a total vote of 24,201. That Alade Mayokun Olarewaju of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Meanwhile, a youth advocate, Lisa Angula, has said that young people in countries around the Lake Chad region should be equipped with skills that will enhance peaceful society. Speaking on the sideline of the Lake Chad Peace Building Workshop, Lisa believes young people should have a chance to contribute to decision-making by policy makers that affect them. Daniel Okonji compiled the report.
The Lake Chad Basin cuts across 8 countries, including Chad, Niger, and Nigeria. Due to years of neglect by the governments of these countries, the activities of terrorist and militia groups along the sub-Saharan plain leave the youths of these regions as easy pickings for extremist groups. But in order to change this narrative, youth mobilization and participation in peace building is a good place to start the conversation of correcting the socio-political problem.
Now decisions are made by those already in power, but the majority of the people are young, but they are still excluded from decision making. So what we're trying to do with this project is equipping the youth with the capacities to monitor what they think is needed for peaceful societies.
We have also shared idea on advocacy. What strategy the different countries are adopting to make sure that they advocate for peace building, they advocate for gender equality, they advocate for youth inclusion in decision-making process, and of course to participate in governance, not to be used as an agent of destruction.
Young people in troubled spots become extremely dependent on donor agencies, where they could develop the capacity to address their problems.
We've been seeing that many of the youth start to really grasp the idea of why it is important not only to receive distributions from international organizations, but rather how they can be the main character in their own lives, to take matters in their own hands as to what they want to see. I think that is the one message that they really, really understand.
Participants share their experience. They say the interaction is worth the while.
Borno State Maiduguri, we are doing YSADs, Youth Saving Loan Association in our community, which help the youth of Borno State to be self-defense. They are doing something. So we give them the idea so that to go back to their country and start adopting what we are telling them.
One of the main things or the experience we had from the exchange from Nigeria and Niger, while concerning the project for the association for the loans, which is something very good, and I would like to go and implement the project.
The Lake Chad region holds a great deal of potential economically and otherwise. Therefore, it is inherent on countries around the region to develop its youthful population in order to guarantee a future of prosperity.
You're still watching Newsblitz. We'll bring you news from the foreign scene after this break. Stay with us.